We're going to preview the 2025 MLB season because he does have time for us, and I love him for that. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Doing great, Michael. It's fantastic to be here with you, and I appreciate you making me sound more important than I actually am.
Oh, you're eminently important to me. Let's put it that way. Who do you like in the World Series? What teams are coming out of each league?
In the National League, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay.
And in the American League, I have the Texas Rangers, and I don't feel very good about that.
How come?
I don't know who's going to win the American League, man. I don't know who's going to go to the playoffs in the American League. We have to do these previews, right? Like we do our picks every year. And I sent in my picks, and I had one line at the top of the email, and it said, "I feel good about none of this." and it's true. Like, it's true, because we have no idea what the season is going to turn out like. No clue whatsoever. We don't know what injuries are going to happen. We don't know what trades are going to happen. We don't know who's going to break out. We don't know who's not. And as much as we try to be informed as reporters and as analysts, it's baseball, man. It's the sport that gives us, more teams out of nowhere and players out of nowhere than any other. And so I send these in because I like getting paid. And I don't want to be derelict in my job, but I have very limited confidence in them just based on the fact that I'm trying to predict what 6 months of baseball is going to look like, and only a fool would actually do that.
So let me ask you something about the Yankees, because they lose Cole for the whole season. They lose Heel probably for half a season. Yep. Stanton, you don't know when he's going to come back. But Vegas has not moved its odds at all. At all. They're still the favorite in the American League. So is that because the American League is not that strong, or the Yankees have enough to cover up for the losses of those important people?
I think it's more the former than the latter, because I don't know if what you said there, that second part, is actually true.
Right.
I had the Yankees before Garrett Cole got hurt, winning the American League East. I do not have them making the playoffs right now. And I don't feel very good about that, because generally speaking, when I doubt the Yankees, they come back and prove me to be the fool that I often am. But I just, like Michael, I look at their rotation right now. Let's remember the Yankees got off to an incredible start last year on the strength of the rotation, and that was a rotation that didn't have Garrett Cole. But they also don't have Luis Gil right now, and they also don't have Clark Schmidt right now. And the bottom 60% of their rotation is made up of a guy who wasn't going to be part of it when spring training started, a prospect who was probably going to start in AAA and Will Warren to start the season, and a guy in Carlos Carrasco who surprised everyone with how he's looked this spring, but last year was just not a good big league pitcher. And then you look at the Yankees lineup, especially without Stanton in it. And I love Austin Wells hitting leadoff. I think he's gonna really, really come into his own this season. But I don't know what they're gonna get from Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know if Jazz Chisholm's finally gonna have the year that we've been waiting for, 3-4 years for him to have. I have no idea what Oswaldo Cabrera is gonna be like at third base. I keep waiting also for Anthony Volpe to be the guy that he was at AA and AAA. Cody Bellinger's been up and down. Jason Dominguez, big emoji shrug. Like, there are so many things that can go right for the Yankees, but there are also so many things that can go wrong for them. And when I'm trying to make these predictions, I'm looking at the things that I feel like I can bank on, and I don't feel like I can bank on a whole lot with the Yankees right now beyond Aaron Judge.
All right, so if you have the Yankees out, you have Texas coming out of the American League. Who do you have winning the American League divisions, and who are your three wild cards that are going to beat out the Yanks?
I have the Red Sox winning the East. I don't feel good about that at all. I was tempted to pick Tampa Bay. Shane McClanahan's injury sort of scared me off of that, but now it's not quite as bad. So maybe if I were to redo my picks, I would put Tampa Bay somewhere in there, because I think the Rays are sneaky good. Like, I really like their bullpen. They have starting depth. I think they're going to hit more than people realize. Central. I have Detroit, and that might be because Detroit was the last team that I visited in spring training, and they were on my mind. But I look at their pitching, man, and Tarek Skubal, best pitcher in the American League, top of the rotation. Jack Flaherty, awesome last year. But beyond that, there's just so much depth there. Reese Olson, good starter. Jackson Joe, best pitching prospect in the minor leagues, is going to be in their rotation. Casey Mize, former number one overall pick, looking like a guy who was a number one overall pick, and a ton of optionality in the bullpen between stuff, arm angles, and handedness. And in Detroit, A.J. Hinch is really good at devising lineups that take advantage of platoons. And he's got a lot of right-handedness and left-handedness. They're banged up right now. Matt Vierling's out. Parker Meadows, their center fielder's out. But I think the Tigers, in a mediocre at best division, will come out on top. I've got Texas out west in my 3 wildcard teams: Seattle, Baltimore, and Kansas City. And Seattle love the pitching. I think they're going to hit enough and take advantage of a relatively weak division. Baltimore, I'm just waiting for them to put it all together. And I know the pitching doesn't look like it's there at this point, but I feel like eventually, either via trade or something from within their system, the pitching's going to improve. And Kansas City, I think the Royals really take advantage of being in the American League Central, and they can pitch. And Bobby Witt Jr. is my MVP pick, so I think he is going to carry them to a second consecutive playoff berth.
So a drop-off for the Guardians. What's the reasoning behind that?
Lost Josh Naylor, lost Andres Jimenez. I don't think their pitching depth is quite what it was. And every time you see a bullpen that puts up a year like the Guardians did last year, there is inevitable regression. And I just don't know that Cade Smith and Tim Herron and Hunter Gaddis are going to have the same types of year with the workloads that they had. You guys saw it in October. Like that Guardians bullpen that was so vaunted during the regular season, I think they just wore down. And I wonder if they can bounce back and have the same type of year, any of them, let alone all of them.
All right, let's move over. We're talking with Jeff Passan of ESPN here on the Michael K. Show, 880 ESPN. Let's move over to the National League. So you said the Dodgers are coming out. We're here in New York. What's your take on the Mets? Where are they ending up?
I have the Mets making the wild card. And I think they are going to be competitive. I really do worry about their pitching, but goodness, Michael K., the top 5 of that lineup is about as good as it gets. And I'm talking Dodgers included. Like, when you can go Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, Vientos, how do you navigate that? Like really, how? These are not guys who have enormous strikeout numbers. These are not guys who have holes, like significant holes in their swings. They all put up decent batting averages, Alonso occasionally accepted, but and they all can put the ball over the fence. So I think the Mets are going to bludgeon teams this season with that lineup. But man, they need Kodai Senga so badly to be the pitcher that we saw in his first season stateside, because if it's not Senga, like I'm starting to buy Clay Holmes, not just because of spring training, not just because of the stuff. My only question with him is, okay, at what point is he going to wear down? Because I feel like there's an inevitability to that when a guy transitions from the bullpen to the rotation. You have your rare exceptions. Seth Lugo did it, but for the most part, when you're going from throwing 60 innings a year to trying to throw 180, it's tough. Like down the stretch, it becomes a really trying thing for guys to do. So I'm expecting the Mets to go and be aggressive in June and July and acquire at least one other starting pitcher. But at that point, Sean Manaea is going to be back. Frankie Montas likely will be back, and we'll have a sense of what the Mets really need then.
All right, so give me your division winners in the National League.
I've got Atlanta in the East. And I feel pretty good about that. I like Philadelphia a lot, don't get me wrong, but the Braves, I just feel like they're primed for a big, big year with Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna both coming back, and with bounce back years from everyone from Edelson to Ozzie Albies to Austin Riley and Michael Harris. I also have Philadelphia going to the wild card. So I think there'll be 3 playoff teams in the East. In the Central, I've got Milwaukee. You can make an argument, Michael, for any of the 5 teams, and I'd probably nod along and say, yeah, I can see that. But Milwaukee's made the playoffs in 5 of the last 6 full baseball seasons, if you include the COVID year, 6 of 7. And there's just they know how to win. I know they lost Willie Adames this offseason. I know they traded Devin Williams to the Yankees. So in some respects, they went backward, especially when you sign nobody except Jose Quintana in the offseason, and he's an end of spring training signing. But, man, Jackson Chourio is a superstar. And when you have him and William Contreras anchoring that lineup and a Brewers organization that just seemingly knows how to crank out pitching, I'm going to take the Brewers, slightly over the Cubs and the Reds. And out west, of course, it's the Dodgers with the wild card teams, the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, and the Mets.
All right, so the Diamondbacks are your 3rd wild card, and you have the Dodgers coming out of it. And it's funny, I keep seeing all the previews, and if you're going to bet the field has much better odds than the Dodgers. But are you concerned about the Mookie Betts thing? Or obviously, they have an abundance of pitching, but the Mookie Betts thing is really scary.
Yeah, it's alarming. It seemed to be positive news that he's going to be playing, and if it were really, really bad, I would assume he would not be playing. So I don't have any details on what caused him to lose 15-plus pounds, but it's scary. And, baseball is better when Mookie Betts is playing and performing. So I hope for everyone's sake that he's back out there. But if any team, Michael, has the depth to weather something like that, it is the Dodgers. I mean, if they have to put Miguel Rojas at shortstop, if they have to put Tommy Edman at shortstop, there are worse outcomes, certainly. Mm-hmm. So I think at the end of the day, the Dodgers have so many good players, they could lose Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani and still be a playoff team. That's how good I think they are.